Now, as I am sure you're aware, this weekend just gone, we did our 24-hour live gaming stream for charity for the Turnberry Titans on behalf of Glasgow Children's Hospital. Yes, the Retro Bear is here once again to bring you up to date with how we got on, and I'm sure those of you who participated will know pretty much the whole story by now, but it's always best to get our own opinions on it. I know some of the other lads have done videos as well. So what we're going to do, this one's going to be a little bit different. We're going to do so we've got a little video reel coming up shortly. That'll just document us arriving at the place, having a quick look on the outside, showing you the room we stayed in. There's a video of me which went on Facebook. I don't do Facebook, but it went on Facebook apparently. Got more views than most of my videos did. That's on there as well, and there's also a little bit of game footage. That's there. Then I'll come back and sort of fill you in as to sort of the experience, and talk a bit more about the fact you can still donate, and there's still a raffle prize to talk about, which I will do. And then right at the end we'll just put a montage of some photographs which Mrs. Bear took through the course of the weekend, starting at the very beginning and finishing at the very end. You'll see how the photos go, and literally, you know, having been from a very normal start to the weekend to the absolute debauchery that happened on Sunday night. You'll know where that is when you get to it anyway. But first of all, I would like to say once again, we said it so many times over the last few days or so in private and what have you, but a massive thank you to Gordon at Gib84, who has done an absolutely astonishing thing by pulling together this ragtag motley crew of gamers, all hardened gamers and me, all from all walks of life and from all parts of the country as well. You know, there's Ross Borhor, who came all the way from about as far southwest as you can come, with his partner Chrissy and their friend Alan, who drove all the way there. They set off at 2:45, I think it was, on the Friday morning, and arrived there about 12:30, all the way through 10 hours. There was Scott Glory Hunter 82 and his partner Jess and their dog Cosmo, who arrived there as well. We had Eddie and Dylan came together from the northwest. Took them about 5 hours to get there as well. And then there was Paul and his partner Laura, Paul the Northerner and his partner Laura. They arrived much later on in the evening when we got there, and of course there was me and Mrs. Bear as well. I'll detail more about that later, but a huge thank you to Gordon for pulling all these people together. A massive thank you for everybody who actually thought I might be good at something like this. It was an absolute pleasure to be involved in, and I can't credit you guys enough, because it was fabulous spending the entire weekend together. It really was. Strange that we'd all never been in the same place all together at once, which happens quite a lot on this sort of thing. But yes, it was an amazing weekend. Anyway, enough of me talking about that. I'll get onto that a bit later. Coming up now, though, is a video montage. Please do enjoy it. I've had to put some music over it because some of it was taken in the car. There was a radio in the background with some rather recognisable music, and knowing how YouTube works, it'll just flame you alive for using licensed music. So where there's music on, that's why. Some of the sound is a bit quiet, but you get the idea anyway. So I hope you enjoy that, and I'll see you in about 5 or 6 minutes' time.
Potholes. Potholes. Potholes.
Just south of Los Angeles is a peak dive Donald J. Trump signature course with incredible oceanfront views. Trump National Golf Club Los Angeles is a spectacular venue for weddings, business events, or celebrations. Complementing the award-winning golf course is the grand 45,000 square foot clubhouse, boasting a luxurious ballroom, world-class restaurants, impeccable service, and the most stunning views anywhere. As a test of gold and unrivaled scenic beauty, Trump National Los Angeles is simply the best daily fee club anywhere in America. There's nothing like it. We have the ocean. Pebble Beach only has the bag. Book your tee time to experience stunning views and championship golf at its finest, sitting directly on the Pacific Ocean. By going to trumpgolf.com or by calling today. Sit within 800 acres of magnificent coconut groves, sprawling lakes, and Trump National Golf is the most incredible golf resort in the U.S. and absolutely close to the greatest names in German history. Join us as transformers Trump Tour and picture perfect.
Right, so we are here at the Trump International Golf Course in Turnberry for this 24-hour live stream, and it's the Turnberry Titans charity fundraiser for Glasgow Children's Hospital, which I'm very proud to say I'm part of. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be contributing in terms of playing games, but I will give it my best shot. So we're in the final stage of setting up. We're getting underway at 12 o'clock today. That's Saturday the 2nd of November. We're running right the way through until Sunday the 3rd of November. At midday as well, full 24 hours. There'll be gameplay footage, there'll be raffle prizes, all the way through, raffle running for the entire 24 hours, fantastic things that you can take part in simply by donating. I believe it's £10 to each raffle, gets you in the draw, and if your name comes out you'll win whatever fantastic gifts we can offer you, all for charity, so please do give what you can. Now we are in the final stages of doing this, so let's have a quick walk through. Camera person. There we go. So as you can see, it's rather nice here, isn't it? It's rather nice. I feel a bit out of shape really. I'm going to turn around, she does a bit bald spot.
Speak out.
And then, as you can see,
To be fair, Gordon,
we are
I would like
in the final throes of getting all this together. Busy setting things up, and got a laptop over there for streaming. We've got systems around the corner which you can't see here, and then big seating area here. And we're going to be going for 24 hours, so we do hope you can join us and raise a lot of money for a very good cause. Do give what you can.
you can say something like that.
We'll do something. Even if almost like it was yesterday. It wasn't quite, not yesterday, but it wasn't that long ago. Yeah, so that you got an idea what the place looked like. I mean, five-star places. It really was incredibly strange. I'll talk a bit more about that later, get our reaction to it. So what happened in the run up to it? Well, this was put together, I think, I can't remember when it was. I'm pretty sure it was sort of early summer, maybe. I mean, this year's been such a blur, I've got no idea what the timeline is, but Gordon messaged me privately and said, would you be interested in taking part in this? It's going to be at the Trump Golf Resort. It's ironic saying that now, isn't it, after what happened this week? The Trump Golf Resort. So we're saying President Trump's Golf Resort. Something like that, anyway. Up in Turnberry on the west coast of Scotland. All you got to do is get here. Everything's taken care of. And my only real concern was, can Mrs. Bear come? And he was like, yeah, absolutely, no problem at all. My second concern was, we're going to play games for 24 hours. That's my other concern. But Gordon said to me, actually at the weekend, he said, because you were the sort of bringing this play more in 24 thing, which has been such a resounding failure, you had to be there. And yeah, I had to. And I must be honest with you, in the run up to it, there were a lot of things going on. So this crisis of confidence about the whole gaming hobby, playing, collecting stuff that we all go through. I've had issues with the car. I've still got issues with the car. We had to hire one in the end. And just, you know, whether I felt I was the right person to be going. But I tell you something, going back now, I'd have been gutted if I missed it. So, yeah, all those idiosyncrasies and little things that go through your mind, it's really, really strange to do it. So we hired a car. I won't tell you how much it'll cost me. It cost me a bloody fortune. I thought it was going to be one of these like cheap excursions away, but no, it was expensive. I think by the time I got to on the way back, I just really couldn't care less now how much it did. So, but yeah, look, we don't get a chance to go away very often, especially on a journey like this. And yeah, I don't mind paying for something like that. It was absolutely fine. We don't do it every week. It's all right. But yeah, so the car, we got a hire car. It was an MG SUV something or other, which is very, very comfortable. Mrs. Bear drove all the way up, automatic, hybrid, brilliant, really comfortable. It did annoy her an awful lot because he kept talking to her and telling her that she was going too fast. The annoying message kept, we couldn't turn it off. It was really weird. But yeah, we did about just under 670 miles all told for the entire trip, which is quite a lot in a few days. Bear in mind that we spent it. But we started our travelling on the Thursday. The idea was to get there on the Friday with everybody else, and then we were going to leave at the same time. We were going to take our time coming back. And I think on the way back, Claire realised that if perhaps we could have maybe done the second journey all in one go, because it was just a comfortable drive. And you know, usually if she drives 2 hours to mum's down to Weston, she's absolutely sort of like, you know, she drove 4 hours back on the Monday, and it was like fresh as a daisy. It was like, wow, you know, this is we could have done all this in one go, which it is what it is. You don't know until you hire these things. It's fantastic. I wouldn't not hire a car again to do this. It was a great journey. So we left on the Thursday about 2 o'clock, hit traffic on the way up at Warsaw, we hit traffic at Manchester. At one point it looked like we were going to get delayed by about 45 minutes in our arrival time. We got there bang on time. Got there at 5:30 on our hotel stopover just south of Carlisle, which was a travel lodge, which was rubbish. I don't do hotel reviews, as you know. I leave that for other people to sort out. But yeah, it was yeah, not great. Mrs. Bear was none too impressed. And yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good really. So we stopped there. Then we set off on the Friday morning. Most of the people were probably on the road by that point, or getting close to being on the road. I think we were the third people to arrive, so about 3.5 hours from where we were. There were two routes you can go. You can either go down the coastal route, which is where the route we came back on, and you'll see that as we go. You may have seen it on the video as we're going in. That was part of that route. Or you can go sort of towards Glasgow and then cut across. I think it was the A77, which takes you towards Ayr. And that was the most direct route to go up that way, cut across, and literally drops you right at the top of the golf resort. So when we got there on the Friday, we came in at the top of the golf resort for the entrance marks, staff and service, which we felt was quite appropriate really, because when we were guests, so we're driving into this, I'm thinking we're going the wrong way here, because we then passed round the back of it and there's this like spa and hotel to your left. And I thought sooner or later there's going to be, you know, this big black vehicle's going to come out of some, you know, out of nowhere. People in suits are going to jump out and sort of like point guns at us saying, what are you doing here? But luckily we were driving a better car. Had I been driving my own car, they probably would have done that, but because we were driving a decent car or a more up-to-date car, they didn't do that. And eventually we found our way round. We went around the front of the place, which you'd have seen as we went in, and then we arrived, by luck more than anything else, found out where the lodge was. Of course, Gordon was there to greet us. Like I said, Ross was already there and Scott was already there, and it was just great. It was just great to meet. I mean, fantastic venue to do it in, and everybody else filtered through on the Friday, so we had a full house of people. House Lodge. Where's that Lodge House? I mean, you saw the inside of it. The only thing that's probably disappointing about it was the size of the kitchen, which is probably smaller than the pantry. I really cannot believe a place like that, which is like beautifully done out. It's got the world's tiniest kitchen. The bathroom was bigger than the bedroom than the kitchen was. I mean, even the facilities for cooking, I mean, the fridge, there wasn't like a big, you thought you'd have a big double door fridge freezer. No, you got a tiny under the counter fridge. Yeah, couldn't quite work that one out really. Yeah, so the Friday night we spent just sort of sitting around. We'd all bought food with us as well. It was probably a mistake because I think most of it got left behind. Because on the Friday, Gordon told us he cut a deal to bring some takeaway food in, so we got pizzas arriving and this fantastic chicken pakora. I'm not usually one for eating spice. It was a little bit of a spice to it, but I'm not overly keen sometimes on Indian food. But that was I mean, it was nice. I mean, that stuff disappeared. It was great. Pizzas, great boxes of chips and all sorts. The thing was, we've been sort of snacking on pork pies and little sausages and bags of crisps and things like that. So by the time that came along, we were all a bit full. I know I was anyway. And the lads had cracked open the Tennants. The Tennant was already there. Two drinks of choice of the weekend really were Tennants and the blood orange cider. I think it was either the Taurus variation, but the one that was more commonly seen was the Thatcher's variation. And not being a drinker, I sort of got a couple of bottles of squash with me and some tins of 7-Up and just ploughed through those. And I think on the Friday night we went to bed about, I think me and Mrs. Bear went down about 11 o'clock. And it's, yeah, good night's sleep. I mean, the bed, you saw the bed is huge, absolutely huge. I sort of lay there, I couldn't even reach Claire. She was like on the other side of the room. It was like 2 double beds had been sort of stapled together. It was amazing. It really was. So we agreed the morning after to meet for breakfast because Gordon managed to facilitate breakfast for the 3 days we were there. So, you can imagine pizzas and all sorts of stuff the day before. So we all agreed to go up for breakfast about 9 o'clock. So we all went up there. And that was an interesting experience because, as you saw in the video where we went in, that's where the eating was. You go through a revolving door, and I thought this is great because it's a place with a revolving door for a start. I don't usually do revolving doors. I've seen Inspector Clouseau in Revenge of the Pink Panther. Was it Return of the Pink Panther? One of them anyway. And I know how that ended, so I managed to negotiate that without getting my head stuck in at some point. And Scott and Jess took their dog, and they couldn't come into the actual dining area, but they were able to sit in the lobby and have their breakfast there with the dog. It was fantastic, brilliant. There are some photographs of this, by the way, on at the end of the video. So we walked towards where we could go for breakfast, and it wasn't like a dining room. It was the crystal ballroom. You're eating the ballroom, so you sort of look up, there's great chandeliers everywhere and all this, and you look out to the left of you, and there's this panoramic view across the front of the hotel out towards the golf course and the sea in the distance and the islands and what have you. And there was a little bit of confusion when we got there because they weren't quite sure who we were. Bear in mind, I think the 3 of us were wearing shorts. Yeah. Yeah, it was, I mean, I wouldn't say that we looked out of place because it was looking around other people. It was a mixture of older people and younger people, so I don't think there's any sort of danger of looking out of place, but they were a bit confused. Eventually we cleared up who we were and they were quite happy. And honestly, they couldn't have been more helpful and more courteous and you know, as they would be in service industry. Very, very helpful and couldn't do more for you. On the Saturday, because they had 150 guests plus staying there, it was a breakfast buffet, so you just went and help yourself. You could have the usual fried stuff. There was a continental option as well with fruit and meat and cheese and bread and cereal and all sorts, yogurts. And you had an a la carte menu as well. So if you wanted, say, eggs Benedict for a particular reason, or if you wanted actually the traditional Scottish breakfast, they would actually cook you something like that to order. And as Gordon said to me, he said, because we have 150 guests plus staying, that's what they do there. If we get less than that, then what they do is they just give you a menu in the morning, which is what happened on the Monday, and saying just have what you want. If you want the continental, you know what, you can take it through there. If you want something hot, then you request it to order and they make it for you. So it's just brilliant. Breakfast, knowing how much the breakfast costs, it probably wasn't worth anywhere near. A long way off, but it was nice, and I think by the time I finished, I thought, yeah, I couldn't eat any more than that really. Nice strong coffee to go with it as well, juice. I didn't get any toast. I was wondering, we didn't get any toast. We had toast on the Monday, but they didn't bring us any at all. But even the butter came like circles like that with the Trump Turnberry logo on the front. It was fantastic. So we had breakfast. Then we went back to the zone, the game zone. And we started the stream about 12 o'clock. Generation Pixel came along as well, joined us the first few hours. And that was it. And obviously we had the raffles running every hour, which was fantastic donations from so many different people. From Ross bought something to give away, the traders and the Black Country Gaming Fair. And we must thank Mrs. Bear for her powers of persuasion, Hidden Chest Gaming, Tootie, Paul at Black Country T-shirts, Martin at Joypad, Joy and Toys. I think some other, Miss Claire donated one of her modded Master Systems as well. There's so much generosity from people. Drinking the game with Josh since that fantastic American NES gen over at Retro Rivals, I think it is. Painting that she'd done, the Final Fantasy things, and Eddie's still working on one prize at the moment, which is still running. We'll get to that in a bit. Just so much stuff. Just people were just so generous. Sean of Retro Games Revive, must remember Sean as well because he donated some things as well. I can't remember everything. If that was everything or not, I don't know. Just so people just so generous. Oh yes, and of course the Star Wars Xbox 360 that Ginger Hippie Gaming donated as well. And the money was rolling in. We're going well. We're playing games. We started playing Tiger Woods, which I was too good at, so we stopped playing that. I think it was because I'd never played it. We thought we just played the Turnberry golf course, and we thought we just played 9 holes, and we got 2 holes in, and evidently I was that far in front that we thought, well, just play something a bit more accessible, which is Wii Sports, and I was much worse at that for some reason. I don't know why. And we were playing Gran Turismo 7. We got the VR headset on. We played Shredder's Revenge. What else? Beat Saber, which Ross and Scott were playing on quite a lot. I think of other things that were on the big screen now. Ross was playing some Tetris variation. Eddie and Dylan set themselves up in the corner, streaming on Eddie's channel. They were playing mostly shoot 'em ups, affectionately known as Shmup Corner, as PS3 set up, all different systems set up. They had a GoldenEye on the N64 for about 10 minutes, and they all realised it wasn't very good, so they turned it off. Again, people's perceptions of that game have changed an awful lot over the years. Was there any Mario Kart? I think there was some Mario Kart. Mario Kart 64 was played for a bit. Ghost Squad on the Wii. We got the more beat 'em ups as time went on. So things like Guilty Gear, the new Guilty Gear game. I don't know these games particularly. Street Fighter 5, I think, was played quite a bit. The My Little Pony beat 'em up, which isn't the My Little Pony beat 'em up because of copyright reasons, is now called Them's Fighting Herds. That was quite popular at the early hours in the morning. We might have found a game that Mrs. Bear's really good at because she basically kicked everybody's backside out of it. Oh yes, everybody, including Ross, who's a demon on games. And it was quite so. Jess and Laura were sort of in and out, coming in and out, spending time upstairs, but spending time on their own. Mrs. Bear was doing the old social media stuff. And she didn't have to do all that. And Anne Gordon was incredibly appreciative of what she did. And I kept saying to her, you don't have to do this. If you want to go to bed or whatever, no, I'm all right, okay. And Chrissy was doing it. So Chrissy sat up, I think, till about 3 on the Sunday morning. And I think then she went off for a little bit. So, we do all the auctions. I jumped on and did a bit of hosting for an hour and a half or so. Nice to see some of the other lads actually, after that, sort of jumping on and sitting and talking to the camera, because I don't think we did that enough. But you can't sit there for full 24 hours and do that. I couldn't do 24 hours. I was struggling after about 40 minutes of things to talk about, things to say. Lucky Gordon came along and sat down, we had a talk about why we were doing it and whatever. Scott came along for a bit of a chat. We gave Gordon a presentation because it was his birthday recently, so we got him a cake and some gifts which he opened on camera and was very embarrassed about, but I think it was also the touching gesture of how much he means to a lot of people. It wasn't just us there who'd got in for him, there were other people who put into a fund for him for gifts who couldn't be there. Just because of the hard work he'd done, and it was so nice to see how touched he was by it. He's a very humble man, he's Gordon. He's a lovely fella, and I think he was very, very touched by the generosity of everybody. But then we get into the night, and once all the auctions finished, and everything, the raffle finished the day, then we hit the sort of the period of now we've got to try and keep going. So I, myself personally, I sort of went and sat with Dylan because Dylan was playing Parodius non-stop. It seemed like he was playing Parodius non-stop. I don't think he was, but he was playing it an awful lot. And I went and sat down and watched him play Parodius for a bit, and then I played a bit of Miss Pac-Man and Frogger. And I sort of sat there and I sort of found myself, it's about 1 o'clock in the morning, so me, going like that. And I'm not sure whether I was asleep or not, I don't know. And the next, all I can remember was just, Dylan goes, do you fancy playing some games? I was like, yeah, I'd love to. That's why I'm here, innit? I believe. And so he said, you have to go on this, and he got one of it, because he bought loads of different consoles and things and devices and all sorts. It was, yeah, so much stuff there. And he got like a Super Nintendo, I think, I can't remember was it, anyway. Because Dylan being Dylan, he's not, I thought, oh great, Super Nintendo catalogue, I can probably plough through some decent, I can find something to really amuse me, play, maybe some football games or something like that. Oh no, he's only got platformers and shooters and something else, fighting games. So I amused myself on Tiny Toons Adventures Bust Loose, which I've got up there, Donkey Kong Country, which I've also got up there, and a couple of other games as well. So by about sort of 2:30, I'd sort of woke up a little bit. I thought, oh, it's not too bad now. So I walked around for a bit, saw what was going on. And then, and this is what Mrs. Bear said, you hit the wall. And I think we all hit the wall about 4 o'clock in the morning. The chat is dead. There's no, there's 2 people watching. There's no chat going on. There's nothing happening there at all. Paul, I think, was on his laptop playing a game he'd downloaded because he was doing some technical stuff while he was there. I think a couple of us sort of sat down and sort of lay out and close our eyes for a little bit. And I'm sitting there going like this all the time. And Claire's on the other side of the table, wake up. And then she was doing exactly the same thing. Go to bed. No, I don't want to go to bed. Okay. So somehow that period between 4 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock in the morning was so difficult to stay awake and stay focused. And I think Gordon got me and Scott playing Ghost Squad, which was a good idea because it's a great game. I mean, it's probably one of the best games you could buy for under £2. Honestly, it's a classic. And I watched Scott's, because Scott's done a video, and I will stick links to everybody who's put stuff in about this at the end, so you can go back and watch their accounts of what's happened. And he said something in that video which I watched last night, and he said, oh yeah, the controller that I hadn't been calibrated properly, and he tried it afterwards on Resident Evil Dark Side Chronicles, possibly, one of the Resident Evil Wii shooters, and he said it wasn't working properly, which was great relief, because I thought, I'm really crap at this. I was like, oh, I've died again, and so I sat there, I thought, oh, just carrying on. I'm sat next to Scott, and then I must have nodded off because when I woke up, he'd finished the game. I was like, have you not finished that? Yeah, all right, well done. Yeah, so that was it. And I was talking in the chat about, I think Sean was in the chat about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was saying, I'm never doing this again. I said, this is it. I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm too old for this. Because I think I just hit that point psychologically and mentally that I'm just like, I just want to lie down now and go to sleep. I really do. But we carried on. We all soldiered on. We did some more raffles in the morning. Again, massive respect to Tootie, to Sean, to Big Game Al, to everybody who was in the chat in the morning trying to get the money up and whatever, because we'd hit a really good target the night before. And I remember saying to Paul's partner, Laura, I said, hey, we don't hit 3,000 quid from here. I said, I don't know, it'd be really disappointing. And we got to £3,000, just over £3,000 on the stream, which was amazing. And when you take into account gift aid donations as well, which I don't think we were pushing enough. But then again, it's asking people to donate more on top of what they're doing. So it's one of those. But that added another 700 quid. So it was 3,700 and something other by the time we finished. So 12 o'clock comes, we're all done, so that's it, right? So we all, you know, sit, right, going to have a lie down. So I go to bed and I'm sort of lying there. It's about 12:15 on some Sunday afternoon, this is. And I know most of the other, Paul went to sleep for about an hour and his brain couldn't switch off because it's still light outside. I think Ross had the same problem. So they maybe got a couple of hours. Eddie, I think, probably got a couple of. Dylan probably slept as long as we did. Because eventually I got to sleep about 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. I didn't wake up till about 5:30, I think it was. So we went to sleep when it was light and woke up when it was dark. Yeah, worked that one out. What you've got to remember as well, of course, I think Scott mentioned this, and I said this to the lads at the time. You know, it's a 24-hour game thing, but it's not just 24 hours. Most people were up between 6 and say 7:30 on a Saturday morning. So most of us, by the time we've probably gone to sleep on the Sunday afternoon, about 1 o'clock, we say 1 o'clock as a finishing position. Most of us have been awake probably for about 30 to 32 hours. So it's not just that. I was trying to work it out the other night, the longest I'd stayed awake ever. And it used to be when I used to go down to London for weekends from university friends. And, you know, I'd sort of leave here on the Saturday morning, or maybe even, was it Friday? I can't remember. I remember I'd get down there, I'd barely sleep on the Saturday. Be absolutely, so I'd go on the Friday, I'd get up at 8, we leave 8 o'clock on the Friday. I'd barely sleep on the Saturday night, the Friday night, because I never usually sleep particularly well away from home, and usually I'm keeping on somebody's sofa, so that's not the best thing to do. We then go out Saturday night, and we come back in the early hours of Sunday morning. So in a space of, say, 48 hours, and this is at the time I was like in my early 20s, in a space of 48 hours I've probably got about, I don't know, 6 hours, 7 hours sleep. And I know one time we were coming back driving through London, I was hallucinating incredibly badly because of sleep deprivation. I was seeing sheep and things in the middle of the road. I'm not joking. It is bad. It wasn't quite as bad as that, but obviously I'm a lot older now. Yeah, so we got a decent amount of sleep. We went back upstairs and we were sitting there, and then, you know, we're all sitting there eating leftover food. Lucky we got there when we did, because there wasn't an awful lot left. And I forgot to mention on the Saturday night as well, they brought more food. The hotel brought more food for us. A curry with rice and a lamb curry with great giant chunks of lamb in it. Beautiful curry. Big pot of chicken wings. More pizzas and chips. The dirtiest fries you've ever seen. Gordon must have wondered why nobody wanted to go for breakfast on Sunday morning. I think had we gone for breakfast on Sunday morning, and again the idea was, you know, half of us would go across for breakfast, the other half will carry on gaming, and then we'd come back and do a swap. But nobody, I think we'd eaten something, we did all passed out. We probably all eaten out at that point. We didn't have breakfast on the Sunday, I forgot to mention that. So on Sunday night, everybody lets their hair down, we sort of sit round the big table, having a lot of fun. There's a lot of drinking going on, I think. Yes, you know what I'm talking about, who was there. And things got a bit, I say leery, a bit rowdy, a bit fun. Gordon had gone home, we were desperately trying to get him to come back, and I think he eventually thought, he said, you know, if I sit there and I don't go back, I'm not going to see these guys again properly for, you know, well, when I'm going to see these people again. So he came back for a couple of hours and just spent some time with us. And then I think we all went to bed about 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. Some of us went for breakfast the following morning to finish off with. And then, yeah, everybody started going. Ross, Alan and Chrissy went about 9, I think it was, because they wanted to go to Forbidden Worlds, which was about 45 minutes from where we were. Paul had to go about 10 o'clock because, again, commitment, you know, he'd booked the day off work, but he forgot he'd booked a work call in. But because he hadn't, it was his fault, he felt responsible and had to go back home and do it. So he and Laura left about 10. Eddie and Dylan, I think, went about 10:30, 11:15. Scott and Jess at the same time as well. And that's left at me and Mrs. Bear and Gordon, so we sort of took Mrs. Bear's shelves down and sorted all that out, and then we left about 11:30, I think it was, on the Monday morning. Gordon tidied everything up, and it was weird. It was weird. It was like, it was so emotional. And I think that's the problem when I lay in bed on the Sunday after we finished. It's a great wave of emotion came over me, as if like, yeah, I was, I've been fretting about this for weeks, and I was how sad it had finished, and all I could think about was what's going to happen tomorrow morning. Everybody's going to bugger off in their own directions, aren't they? We're all going to go back to where we were, and I think the general sentiment, although I don't think anybody's spoken about it, was very much the same. And I like to think that everybody thought the same as that. And even just there on the Monday, sort of looking around, and like, we're the last people to go. There's nobody else around. We know Gordon's back inside, but we are the last car to go. And yeah, I you know, mate, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I will not deny the fact that there was tears in my eyes, just leaving there, because of how fantastically well we'd done, being with such wonderful people, and we all got on. There was nothing like that at all, nothing going on. We all got on, which is weird when you think about the things that have happened in this community in the last few years. Crazy. And everybody fitted in, everybody felt part, everybody felt welcome. And again, the hospitality was just out of this world, it really was. And then we went back the coastal route. We drove down the coast, which was one of the ways we could have come in, so that was nice to do that. I mean, the weather was like it's been the last week or so everywhere, cloudy and dull. It was like that going back. So we drove probably about 4 hours, I think it was. We got onto our hotel, which was Killington Lake, which is just south of Kendal. So we're going to stop over there on the Monday, which is exactly what we did, in a day's inn, which I don't review hotel rooms, as you know. And that was distinctly average. It was probably a little bit better than what we'd had the night before. It was rough around the edges, but when we opened, when you looked out we actually walked around the back of the hotel, and it was just this giant lake. If the sun had been out, it'd have been beautiful. It was still quite breathtaking, but it just wasn't quite the same with the dull weather. But it was a better than expected view. It was off the motorway, so it was fairly quiet. Yeah, it was average, but better, I think, than the Travel Lodge. Cheaper the Travel Lodge as well, but yeah. And yes, we had a sleep there. Not a great night's sleep, but not terrible. And then I think it was about 10:30 on the Tuesday morning, we headed home. We were the first ones out on a Thursday, and we were the last ones to get back. Got back just after 1:30 on the Tuesday, took the car back, we were back home for 2 o'clock, and all was said and done. And there you go. So yeah, it was an amazing weekend. It was an experience which I shall never forget. I know Claire won't forget either. I'm hopefully the rest of the team feels like about it. It feels that way as well. We've done an amazing thing, and so many people come out and support it, and I'd like to say, extend a massive thank you to anybody who came and donated, even if you donated whatever you could. It is hugely appreciated, and you can still do so. The Just Giving page is still open. I'll stick a link below. You can still donate anything. Like I said, Eddie has got an item which is part of the raffle. He's still finishing it off, I believe. He may be close to finishing it. And I'll stick a link to Eddie's video about what it is. You can have a look there. You can still join that. I know Gordon, I think, is going to do a virtual wheel spin with the prize winner at some point. But you can still give. You can still give, and please just give what you can, even if it's a couple of quid or something like that. You know, if you don't want to be involved in the raffle, donate a few quid towards it. To put it in comparison, and I know what's happened. You know, we've raised nearly double what they raised last year on a completely different thing. And I know Gordon works so hard to convince whether it's committee or whether it's charity whatever, charity committee or something like that, charity whatever, connected to it. Some of them got it, some of them understood what it was, some of them didn't get it at all. They didn't see how it could work. And you know, this is a real testament to everybody who took part in this, whether it was actually physically involved or gaming. You've made it a success. And we all said that, you know, this would be wonderful if this was to become something that could happen again next year. And whether we're a part of it, whether it's the same lot again, or whether it's a couple of us, or whether it's none of us, whether there's a completely different team. And I know there were people who probably should have been there instead of me. who probably wanted to be there as well, who didn't get the chance to do so. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't know whether Gordon will get the go-ahead next year. I would hope so, because I think he's done a fantastic job. He really has. And he'll say, well, he couldn't have done it without us, but really, we couldn't have done this without him. If it wasn't for him, this wouldn't have happened. And for us as well, the experience, we never get a chance to go to something like that again. Never. Well, maybe possibly in the future, but certainly not at the moment. It was just an opportunity. And I've never been to Scotland, and I absolutely loved it. It was great. I was even, you know, I mean, it's great. Somebody from Scotland to actually use this, you know, like wee, you know. There's a wee digger over there. Yeah, great. You know, fantastic. I always enjoy myself. There's a wee queue. Yeah, I was, you know, I wasn't taking the mick. I was being very respectful about it, but I loved it. I loved it. It really was. And even some of the people we bumped into when we went down to the supermarket were very friendly. You know, it was just, yeah, just a wonderful experience. And if I never do it again, I shall remember it for the rest of my life. I really do. I really will. Yeah. It was. Yeah, you can see why I get sad about it, because it's just a wonderful thing to do for a very worthy cause, and I know every penny of that is going to make some difference to somebody somewhere. You know, whether, as Gordon says, whether it's providing things for the kids in the hospital, whether it's supporting the families, whether it's training the staff, anything like that to help is just a great thing to do. And I've done things like this before, but I think that's probably the biggest charity thing I've been part of. You know, and it was very humbling to do so. So yeah, and then it's back to reality, isn't it? You know, back to work on Wednesday. Yeah, and then we've got Christmas next. Christmas is the next thing coming up. Another 6 weeks to go. That'll scare you. 7 weeks to go. No, it's 6, isn't it? Yeah, that'll scare you. 6 weeks to go. The bloody Christmas. Blimey. And where this year has gone, it has disappeared. But yes, so yeah, extending my thanks, my heartfelt and Mrs. Bear's heartfelt love to all the Titans, especially to Gordon for organising everything fantastically, to everybody who donated and took part in it, whether it was a physical donation, a monetary donation, whether you were just there supporting us in the chat. You know, wow. Just wow. Yeah, so all the links below, don't forget you should still give you, please still try and put some money into it. It would be wonderful if you could do. We'd hit 4,000, man, that would be amazing. It really would be. So that's that. So I'm going to finish with a montage of photographs set to music. Some of it you'll recognise, and some you haven't heard for quite some time as well. So that'll close us out. The photographs I think run about 8 seconds each, so yeah, if you want to speed it up and whatever, but it'll, you know, again, from start to finish, it'll give you a bit more of a flavour of what was going on and the journey and the whole thing, and some funny photographs towards the end as well, and some nice ones indeed, just fond memories of it as well. And yeah, back to the usual rubbish at some point, I suppose, in the future. I might actually now sit down and play this properly because I really enjoy playing that. I'm also quite tempted now. I haven't played on Gran Turismo 7, so it's flopping everywhere. Gran Turismo 7, which I really enjoy playing on the PlayStation 5. And I know you can get it for PlayStation 4, so I might get myself a copy of that. I don't think the VR was... I know Gordon said, oh, you've got to try this in VR. I was like, yeah, okay. I don't think it quite... I mean, it didn't affect me in any way, shape or form, but I don't think it was good, but I don't think it was quite the experience I expected. So maybe not the VR version, but definitely looking at playing that as well. But yeah, play some fun games this week, and it was good fun to do. Anyway, I'll stop talking. Photos on their way. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Big up the Titans, big up Gordon, big up everybody who took part. We've done a wonderful thing. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.
Turnberry.